biologist and professor at the University of London. And I'd like to share some thoughts on the State of Nature report. We're here on the occasion of the release of the State of Nature report. It's a detailed scientific assessment. It doesn't talk politics, but reading between the lines, it identifies clearly how our government has failed us on nature recovery. The report identifies that new initiatives are being implemented too slowly, with too little investment, too small a scale. For instance, potentially effective agro-environmental schemes today cover only a fifth of the agricultural land of this country. It's not surprising that strictly voluntary schemes with too little funding are going to achieve much, and we need something else. The report shows that there's an urgent need to better monitor the impact of the programs we already have, because some of them may not be working. And at the heart of this is a continuing disinvestment by this government over decades in support for the nature agencies whose responsibility is to monitor nature. I'm talking about the Environment Agency, I'm talking about Natural England. Some of these organizations have had their budget cut by over 50% in the last decade. How can they then operate effectively to protect nature? And finally, many of the key targets that will be missed because of the government's lack of urgency and lack of commitment. The report concludes, for instance, that the UK's international commitment to set aside 30% of British terrestrial and marine areas for nature protection will be missed at the current rate of action. In terrestrial areas today, we've only got about 21% covered. These are profound failures. A couple decades ago, I had the privilege of serving on the DEFRA Science Advisory Council. And while I was there, I met many good scientists inside this building. And as John Randall said, many of them are frustrated by the lack of uptake of the science of the programs they develop, the lack of sincerity in implementation by this government. A government that is also today, as you will know, threatening to axe our existing environmental regulation through its EU retained law bill. A government that's recently attempted to remove its commitment to prevent water pollution and development. And a government that just this week announced that new biodiversity net gains regulations are being kicked into the long grass. Isn't it clear that we have a government whose strategy is to loudly sign up to ambitious nature programs with no intention of following through on them? Greenwashing is something we expect from businesses, not as much from government, but this government seems to have no intention of walking its talk. So we are here to call out and demand serious commitment to restore nature now. Thank you.